Hey guys, it's Frederik from the FWX podcast. I want to keep talking about certain terminology and rhetoric when it comes to storytelling in books and TV series and movies and all of that, and pop culture as well. And those are intertwined. And the one I want to mention and I want to talk about right now is a phrase that I know from my native Dutch, and we call it de roden draad, which basically comes down to a meme I've seen online. And maybe you all know the figure of Kronk from the movie The Emperor's New Groove. And he has that moment where he says, "Oh yeah, it's all coming together." And what I mean with this is that when things really start to get together, you see where things are going. And so that's what I want to talk about right now. And before I do that, you can go ahead and like this video. You can subscribe to the channel for more of this kind of content. And that helps me grow on the channel. You can also share this with friends and family, and also people at work or just here online. And you can also comment away in the comment section if you like that. But do please keep it polite and friendly. Okay, let's talk about what I like to call, or rather what we know in Dutch as, de roden draad. And so that basically means that everything is literally coming together. You can literally see what is about to happen before your very eyes when it's not just shown to you in what the people are doing or what they are saying, but you can literally piece it together. Basically, and I'm referring to another meme right now, and that is that guy that is holding his hand up in the air across a large board with a lot of pictures on it, and it literally has a red thread leading to different pictures about, I'm getting it. I'm getting to the point where it's all coming together. And so I've made a video previously when I talked about the McGuffins and what those are exactly. And I'll give you a brief recap. A MacGuffin is basically something you need to get to advance, to further in the story, or in video game terms, to level up, so you can face your enemy, for instance. And I say for instance because sometimes that takes its different forms, depending on what you're watching, depending on what exactly it is. If it's a thriller, if it's fantasy, if it's a comedy. Yeah. It wasn't really thinking about if it could happen in a comedy, but probably yes. And obviously, I was thinking about a lot of fantasy, a lot of thrillers and sci-fi, and superhero shit as well. And I've mentioned that before in that MacGuffin video, of course. And I used the examples from the Harry Potter book and TV series, and also the first three phases of the MCU. And I was referring to the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet at the end when it came to the MCU. And with the Harry Potter books and the movies, I was mentioning the different kind of objects that happen in each book, and then also something that we only learn by the end, the Horcruxes and the Deathly Hallows, which appear throughout the series, especially the Horcruxes, because we do get to see that one in the second book. Here's the cover art for one of those versions, because a lot of different versions have been published since they came out. I've read the books in a with different cover art. But in the Chamber of Secrets, we do get to see that diary that Tom Riddle, aka Voldemort, uses when he was at school at Hogwarts. Okay, and that ends up being one of his Horcruxes. And, well, you're writing the story, you often go for things that can tell the exposition well and in a smart way. And I mentioned this before in the McGuffin video as well. You use that to tell the story in a smart way. And obviously, when you think of stories, you think of books first. Because these days, almost everything is an adaptation. And occasionally, we do get an interesting original story. And the first one that comes to my mind is a movie that I saw last year, which was one of my favorites. And that was the Monkey Man movie that Dev Patel made, which was an amazing movie in its own right. But that is an original story and not a already existing franchise or an IP. And I use both Harry Potter and the MCU because they're two of the biggest franchises that there are. And I've talked a ton about franchises before on the channel and the podcast as well. Well, they're interlocked. And also, so when it's all coming together, or as we like to say in Dutch, de rode draad, you really can piece everything together. Like that meme that I was talking about, with the guy gesturing to the board with everything, pointing to each other, leading to a possible conclusion. And obviously, when you think that way, you could use that also, for instance, in a thriller, especially murder mysteries, which are all the rage now too, by the way. The last couple of years I've seen some interesting new murder mystery films and projects and TV series. A new one that is coming up is the First Day Murder Mystery Club, with some of the biggest older actors, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren, and a couple of others as well. And I'm probably going to see those. Another very well known franchise when it comes, well, smaller franchise. I'd call it a trilogy at this point because there's a third movie about to come out at the end of the year, is with the Knives Out and that onion thing. I'm forgetting the full name. Gonna look it up for a moment. Glass Onion. A Knives Out mystery. Yeah, so there is going to appear a third movie, and that is Dead Man Talking, which will be another murder mystery. Another well-known franchise that has also produced its third movie now is the Agatha Christie books that are being filmed. And we've had Murder on the Orient Express. We've also had Death on the Nile. And now there's a third one that I haven't seen yet. A Haunting in Venice, which came out a couple of years ago. Yeah. I've heard it said that it's a bit darker than the other two. And so that's a bit of a genre in itself, of course, murder mysteries, but of course super interesting. There's another one I'm thinking of, and that is the two movies with Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler. There's literally named Murder Mystery, I believe. Yeah, Murder Mystery and Murder Mystery 2. There's probably more, but those were the ones I was thinking about, of course. And so, yeah, that makes it very interesting to talk about a Rodendraad. And of course, there are more examples, but I thought that these would be interesting for you to know. Obviously, there's one last one example that I want to talk about when it comes to murder mystery in itself as a genre. And I'm talking about a series now, which is gonna have their 5th season in September, and that is The Only Murders in the Building TV series, which has an amazing cast, and that will also include Christoph Waltz in this new season that is coming up. Also, Logan Lerman is gonna be in it, I believe. I'm gonna look it up just to be sure. Obviously, you know the 3 main people: Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez. And at the very beginning, this has really created an amazing series. And yeah, there's gonna be a new season of it starting in September. There's another series that I briefly want to mention here that I watched kind of accidentally last year, in this past year. That is The Residence, which is another murder mystery taking place inside the Oval Office. In the White House specifically. Oval Office is inside the White House, of course. All of you Americans should know this. And that's another interesting one. The funny thing that happened for me with this series, The Residence, is that I accidentally just skipped all the first episodes and went straight towards the end, which gave me the conclusion, which is my own fault. My bad. What else can I mention here? Oh, you know what? I'll keep it short. So, thank you for listening and watching to me talk about what we like to say in Dutch, de rode draad, which is everything coming together, so you can see what it is piece by piece, and it's making sense to you. Okay, so thank you for all of that. You can like this video. You can also subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, and it also helps grow the podcast and the channel at the same time. You can also comment away in the comment section. You can also share this with friends and family and people you know at work, or just here online as well. But do keep it polite and friendly, of course. I've been Frederik. This is the FWX podcast, and I will see you in the next video.